the book, you have the quote that folks have heard a lot, and it's one of the things that you have to lead, follow, or get out of the way. Tell us a little bit about that. What was going on that you felt like that wasn't getting done, or something that someone needed to take charge?
Well, that's a good point. And the reason I bring that up is lead, follow, or get out of the way. There's always a chance. There's always a time for us to lead. Mm-hmm. Leadership is not about, being in charge. We get that so many. I'm out there all the time talking to groups of people who they get that confused. They think leadership is synonymous with management, with a position, with a rank, with a pay grade, with how long you've been with a company, with seniority. It's not. Leadership is all about the example you set.
We're all called to be
while
leaders.
I can give you a historic rundown of the battle, the real story is about the leadership shown at a personal level by guys who weren't in charge of anything except for themselves. Mm-hmm. Private David Floyd ended up being a dude. He was in charge of no one, and he was as far as down on the totem pole as you could be, but he ended up saving lives because he set the example for others to follow. So there comes a time, to get back to your lead, follow, we all have to lead. We're all called to do it. And when it's your time to lead, step up, lead by example, set the example for others to follow. Say, follow me, even if the only person you're in charge of is yourself. Great leaders have to be good followers. We all have to know how to get behind somebody and support them and be there and be the person on someone's left and right. That's a tough thing for most of us. We all understand, surround yourselves with good people. But see, that problem with that one is that's us thinking, well, what can all these good people do for me?
Right.
How do you keep it? Most people have a difficult time remembering where someone's left and someone's right. We have to also be good followers. The worst type of leaders, and I know you guys have run into it. I know people out there listening have run into it. We all have. The worst type of leaders are the ones who can't make a decision. Well, what do you think we should do? I think we should have a meeting.
Right.
Let's meet about it. And then when we get done with this meeting, we'll all say, what a great meeting, and then we'll meet again in a month later and try and figure out what we should do about that. And we'll meet about what we met about. And then you're just like, are you kidding? Come on, make a decision. Like, it's okay to make a wrong decision. That's the point I make. I talk to young leaders all the time going into the military. It's okay to screw up. Gosh, that's how you learn. And that's good. But learn from it and then get up and be a better person for it. But don't stand there looking around, what do we do? It's amazing. Have y'all ever noticed that? It's a frustrating thing, and I'm learning that I have to help people with it instead of just sitting there being frustrated with them. But when people don't know what to do, they do nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
it's frustrating. Get out of the way.
That's something that's so important about this book for our listening family. It's an amazing story because we need to hear these stories of what you guys went through to represent us. But more than that, you're calling people to a place of leadership. And I love it when you said that you want people reading this to know we're individuals, we matter, and we're anything but ordinary. Because I think we battle with our life calling sometimes, and we are capable of carrying out life-changing assignments at any level, in any situation, and we can make a difference in the world. And what Keni's saying out there for all of you listening is we got to get ready, because we don't know when the Lord's going to say, okay, I need you now. Get out there, get ready. And that's a call that we all need to heed. I mean, I know that Ray and Jim feel the same way. As a body of Christ, this is a message for the church today, for God's people.
Yes, very well said, Lauren. Thank you. I agree.
Keni, you've got a chapter in the book called Train as You Fight, Fight as You Train. What does that mean?
The idea being that you're only going to be as good as you prepared yourself to be. And if you've ever had a coach, it's the same thing the coaches have all said. You're going to play like you practice. And I'll go into school systems, or I'll go into corporate meetings, and I'll get up there and say, hey, you're going to hear me say this word, train as you fight, fight as you train. And then you watch people's eyes kind of gloss over, because they're like, well, Keni, I don't train. I work in an office, or I'm a junior in high school. I'm like, Well, you can call training what you want.
Mhm.
You can call it practice. You can call it homework. You can call it Bible study. You can call it group therapy, self-help, whatever it is that you do on a daily basis to become a better example for others to follow and improve your leadership skills. That's training. But you can't finger drill it. It's not just, you don't just go through the perfunctory motions and say, okay, well, hey, we're required to do 3 hours of safety training today. Well, gosh, man, what are we going to train on? Well, I don't know. Let's just here, we'll do this for 3 hours, and then we'll check off the block. Well, one of these days it's going to happen. It's going to go down, and you're going to need that training. And you just kind of went through the motions, and when it comes time to be needed, you're not going to know what to do because you don't magically get better. It comes from all hard work and learning, and this goes bigger than just a skill set, y'all. Let's talk about Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a foundation. It's a character building. It comes from a lifetime, from years and months and days and minutes. How do you spend your time abiding in Jesus? How do you become closer and trying just to be a little bit more like this man that we're all trying to model? And that is your train as you fight as you train. It's good that you go to church on Sunday, but when you walk outside those doors, what are you doing?
Right.
Who are you affecting? Who's on your left? Who's on your right? How well are you prepared when somebody comes to you and says, man, and you know that's what they're going to do. It's people see something in you. They see God in you. And when they need him, they need him. And they're going to come to you, and they're going to be like, they're going to ask you questions. And how sad it will be if you're not prepared to answer those questions because you haven't done the work in advance. This is all part of training, and train as you fight as you train. And basically, you'll only be as good as you prepare yourself to be, and there's always an opportunity to get better, always.
This is the program, Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Jim Stanley alongside Lauren Stewart and Ray Pritchard. Our guest is Keni Thomas. We're talking about his book, Get It On, and what it means to lead the way. Keni, as you've mentioned several times, folks on the left and folks on the right, it reminded me of the Israelites' battle with the Amalekites, where you have Joshua that's doing the battle, Moses who's lifting his hands, and as he lifts his hands, then the Israelites prevail. But when he gets tired, the Amalekites begin to prevail. Well, it took Aaron and Hur coming alongside him, one on the right, one on the left, giving him the foundation to sit on, as you mentioned, and then holding his hands up. It's not, while we are individuals, we have to rely on each other too, don't we?
Well, that's a great little, very simple, very good story to iterate that point. Yes, as good as you are, you can't do it all yourself. You just can't. And I'm not the best at quoting scriptures and quoting stories, and I wish that I could, but I can tell you that it's full of stories about people who, hey, you're taking on too much, you're going to wear yourself out, you need to have people around you. And it's, at some point, somebody stepped up and helped.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it all yourself. And then the point is, even if you think you can do it all yourself, you can't, and that's why God's there. That's why Jesus is there. That's this whole point of the Christianity. The left and the right, these are solid foundations. They're not just things that we make up in the military so that we can run around singing hula hula songs. It's not. These are solid foundations. And wouldn't you, here's what I tell people. Look, you can try and save yourself, and some of us are much better at it than others. Some people are great at crisis management, like single moms. They can put out a lot of fires. We can all try and do it ourselves. But I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot get to the top of Mount Rainier by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have somebody helping you. Can't do it. Some people will get further than others. And at this point, I'm very matter-of-fact about it. If you're coming home and you're struggling trying to figure out, why does the rest of the world not get it? Everybody out here is, when I was in the military, and it was different. People had your back, and no one out here, and you find yourself upset and you're angry, and then you start realizing there's this guilt that's following you around. Like, why, Lord, did I make it out of there? I don't really deserve to even be here. And then you start getting upset at life. You get upset at yourself. You get upset at people around you. At that point, I'm going to tell you, I'm very mad. The only place that I have found that is a big enough power to pull that weight of guilt off your back is at the cross. So it's the only thing I've ever seen. I'm just trial and error, Trust me. It took me a long time to figure out that I was avoiding that, and that's where I needed to be, and that's it. You just can't, y'all. You can't do it all yourself. And it goes down to the simplest of examples, like hey, you guys help Moses hold his arms up. Hey, the machine gunner can't carry all the rounds. Someone else carry some of them for him. Hey, the radio operator can't carry all the batteries. It's too heavy. You guys carry to cross-load everything.
Well, our lives are so impacting, and I think so many times we don't realize, and you've seen people perish right before your very eyes over and over and over again. So this challenge is coming from your heart because people don't realize when they wake up another day, God has a plan for them to touch somebody.
Yeah, there's a plan, but you got to go out there and execute it. Get out there and it's as I learn more about you, start learning. It is so much more about relationships than I would have known. And now, for me, I view the relationships as, okay, it's the person on my left and my right. That's how I affect change. There is a plan. You can go out there in the world. People will let me know, Kenny, you can sing and you get to talk to people and you wrote a book and you reach all these thousands of people. But that's not how you affect the change.
Hey, Kenny, we're coming up on the end of the show. And it flew by. You're right. It would have taken a lot longer, but we appreciate you being with us. KeniThomas.com, KENI Thomas.com for more information. Thanks so much for being with us today.
I told y'all I'd keep talking.
All right. You did great, man. The book's called Get It On, What It Means to Lead the Way, and you can find out more.